Hello, everyone. Um, Today, me, Krista, discussing certain, you know, values with my lovely bride. Say hello.
Hi.
Okay. All right. Now, there's something I would like to discuss in particular. Something that has a lot much significance. It's something that we all struggle with. It's something very important, actually. Um, this something is the subject I call it insecurity and the mystery. It's something that we all struggle with. Every single one of us. Now, I don't care how confident someone thinks they are. Everyone is insecure in some way. Everyone has weak spots. You know, if you think that you have no insecurities, you're lying to yourself. You're not really truly understanding many layers of yourself, because insecurity is, I mean, if you live in this human world, of any society, it doesn't matter if you're from China, if you're from Japan, if you're from Germany, if you're from America, it doesn't matter. You suffer from insecurity. Now, insecurity varies for each individual. Like, someone might be insecure to a certain thing based on the situation at hand. Another person's insecure to this in a situation at hand. It has to do with the severity of our in levels of insecurity. Now, there's a connection between insecurity and the mystery. This is something, okay? This is something that I understand regarding something that I do. It's actually quite um, it's actually quite enlightening. Uh, Maybe my girls see me do it, but I don't think I've ever really explained it. It's something I keep. Well, I just don't. I never think about talking about it. Uh, it's something really enlightening that I do when I close my eyes, and I do it outside too. When I'm smelling, and I'm breathing in the air. Now I'm doing something very. It's very enlightening. Okay. Now what I do is I experience. I imagine. I visualize the mystery. I visualize the mystery of everything that is nothing and everything that correlates to creates everything in existence. And I see that, I feel it, and I see how it changes more into the tangible, or however you want to pronounce it. Uh, how it comes to be in so many forms of I'll use the word spirit, but uh, don't quote me on the religious or other contexts of supernatural context of spirit. When I say spirit, I'm referring to manifestation of some sort of life, some sort of movement. Um, I visualize it. I experience the many forms of this life, this manifestation. From the great mystery that is everything, the existence that we can imagine, it summers down to our perception, it flows, it goes in, we experience this life, all these smells. Now there's so many of them, you know. That's one thing that I do. That I very embrace the animals do is I really acknowledge the smells, those smells, the chemical reactions of this that creates this odor of a certain scent, and I take in all that and I breathe it in, I taste it, and I feel it, and I all these levels of aliveness, all being manifested from the great of everything, coming together in different ways, no matter how we can interpret it or how we could experience it. In many ways, and in many ways, it creates all these different forms of life. Life is the acknowledgement of some sort of perception towards whatever it is in general context. Now, this is goes for the mystery to this great manifestation. I do this when I'm breathing in the air conditioner. I only do this like for about, I don't know, maybe a few minutes. I I take in the creation of from everything that exists to those manifestations. Now, this manifestation changes, varies based on how long I'm breathing it in. It changes as time is persisting. It becomes more and more and more. This is something I do. I experience so many great qualities of life, and it feels actually truly wonderful. I'm experiencing all these interpretations of this, everything that's coming from nothing and everything to these tangible manifestations of interpretation of what a perception of life, and I'm taking it into my mind, and I'm actually taking it to my heart, because everything that we experience should be taken in with our heart, and it becomes a part of us. It's kind of like a scene from a phenomenon that stuck with me when I watched it as a child or a teenager. I remember what he said was, he looked at the kids, and he was actually dying, and he said, take a look at this apple, throw it. throw it to the ground. Now, if we throw it this apple to the ground, it will spoil. But if we take a bite out of it, it'll become a part of us forever. Now, that really, it spoke to me on many levels, because everything we experience, we take a bite out of it, we experience it, and it becomes a part of us forever. Every experience, we are what everything we go through, our past or whatnot, it becomes a part of us forever. You know, you can't change the past without destroying a part of who you are today. Now, this is, I think many of you heard that in the movie Butterfly Effect. Um, anyway, I take in all those different types of layers of air or whatever it is, and I experience it, and I experience how it's in a relationship to everything else. It's in correlation, and and it has all these meanings, and it has this life of its own that speaks to me, and how it comes from the seed of everything and of nothing. It's this really zen moment that I have. I do that when I go outside. I do, it's something that it should be applied in everything. We can't always do it so much and embrace it, because we got to focus on everything around us. We can't focus on one type of experience and embrace it all the time, because we'll be blind to many other things around us. But it's something that we should always take time for, at least once in a day. Okay. Now, those out there are probably wondering, what does this have to do with insecurity? Well, let's talk on principles, okay? Many may not realize this, but insecurity has many characteristics of this great mystery. Why? Mainly because insecurity can be very uncertain. Very uncertain. It could be very unknown. It can create many states of in or unorganized um, way of being. I mean, the mystery. If there's too much of it in a certain area, there could be room for doubt. I mean, it's not the mystery in general. It's just the way that it's applied. I mean, the mystery it could cause unorganization, but it could be beneficial. It could create very much beneficial factors. Now, and that's something that I really want to get into. I mean, the insecurity can play on many of the mysteries, because there's so many levels of uncertainty, unknownness. Now, when you combine that with other types of tangible things that are happening, uncertainty, the mystery can create much imbalance. Okay, let's say I'm going ice skating, and let's say okay, I'm putting a blindfold over me. Now, this is a mystery. I have no idea where I'm going, and what the hell? I'm crashing into everyone. Ah! Well, anyway, this is a analogy. It's a good one. I mean, the mystery is this unknown zone. It's this unknown zone. The same with insecurity. Insecurity. When we're insecure about something, there's huge levels of uncertainty that are combined with this situation and are combined with this situation, and it creates this chaos and stuff like that. Chaos could be good when we apply it right. Now, I want to really get into it that it's not about getting rid of those insecurities, and it's not about brushing to them aside. We do not want to get rid of insecurities. We want to transform those insecurities. Most importantly, we want to make art with them. I think I was talking to a good friend the other day. She was talking about it was Michelle, I believe. She was talking about trash, I believe. She didn't like calling soil trash, and I was trying to discuss with her about the benefit of trash. She thought of trash as something that has no purpose, but that's only because we haven't found that purpose. We could look at something. Let's say we got a bunch of mixture of these substances, and we got them, and we made a mess of something. Now, let's say we did something with it. Let's say we got it, and we actually made something meaningful out of it, or put some use to it. And that's what it's really about. It's not about getting rid of those insecurities. It's about transforming them. Not because we don't want them anymore, mainly because we want to do something with them. We want to transform them to something beneficial and productive that could have much value. So we want to take those insecurities. Now imagine that these insecurities are like different colors of paint. Now, we could get that, we could throw it somewhere, and we could make some really abstract art with it. We could do something with it. It's about constructing those insecurities in a very productive manner, so we're actually doing something with it. when we become very imbalanced, in order to regain balance again, we got to do something with it. We don't get rid of it. We don't brush it to the side. We got to take this and we got to know how to move with it. We got to know how to move with it so it's in a perfect, not perfect, but it's in a very persistent relationship to other things and stuff like that. We could really do something with it. And then those insecurities that plague us don't become insecurities anymore. It becomes abstractions of art that could be very beneficial to our growth. And that's something that I would like to discuss. We go through life and we have all these insecurities a lot of times. And why exactly do we have insecurity? What is the word in and secure? In would be this inward. Let's call it let's call it absorbent. Now we're absorbing. Now that would be the in. Now the self insecurity in with security. That means security is how safe we feel and stuff like that. So it has to do with over absorbing our own safeness. It happens when we become too protective and different situations. We have bad outcomes, and this affects other things. Now, us in life, we're not so still. We're so dynamic in nature that we're combining with things. We're in a relationship with so many things. Now, you take one thing and you put it with another. Let's say something bad happens to us. That goes with this, and it correlates with this. It's like a design, and this creates this very harmful effect on us. We become very insecure, like relationships. So bad things happen to us, and we get something good, but we're not correlated to here, and all these other things, thoughts, emotions, ideas, whatever you want to call it, it overweighs us. We all through life we develop this huge sense of insecurity, and it depends on how we manage it, how we flow with it. Now, me as a person, I've learned to balance a lot in my life, but I do have insecurities. Things clash. Things happen because life is always moving. Because life is always moving, our emotions and our thoughts and things are changing, and this is gonna have possibly harmful effects on our mind, the way we are as human beings. You know, insecurity is something that we have to learn to flow with. I mean, okay, in Buddha, when I'm with my nunchucks or what sometimes it's very dynamic and it's moving, or let's say I mess up, but I want to move with it efficiently, so I'll regain that balance. I'll move with it. Let's say I mess up, I'll flow with it. If it falls here, I'll use a different, I'll use more movement to spin that angle, so it'll balance itself right here accordingly. It's about how we move with it, and it's about how we apply it. We gotta take that insecurity and we gotta do something with it. We gotta let's let's bring out the positive sides of it. Let's let's change it. It's what we're changing is how it affects us in a harmful way. Let's take that. Let's take the let's take harmful feelings, what we might feel or whatever. Let's do something with it, because we can't let these insecurities stop us from growing. You know, it puts us in a puddle where we're not moving anywhere. I want to say moving in circles, but we're not going anywhere. We're just staying in one spot, and this is something that affects us all as human beings. Now let's apply the principles of the mystery. I mean, we take the unknown and we put it to some sort of great benefit. We don't let it blind us. We don't let it create so much unorganization. But we take those insecurities and we do something with it. We take them, we apply the eternal foundation in order to create a greater structure within itself. We use that mystery. In ice skating analogy, how would we apply that mystery? We wouldn't blindfold ourselves. What we would do is that we would just go with it. We wouldn't fixate too much on the idea of us falling or not. We would just move with it. We'd slide with it. We would just move with it in a natural rhythm. We would move in great harmonics and beauty, and that's something that I think has to really be understood nowadays, because insecurity is something that affects us all. So many people have so many bad insecurities. There was this. I used to go downtown a lot. Now it's when I went clubbing, and there was this. He was a minister guy. Well, he was actually a spiritual advisor and a priest. he told me something interesting. He said that he said something along the lines of not being afraid to pursue what I truly want. Some people tend to be afraid, and because of that, they let that fear cloud the better side of them, and they become safe. Yes, maybe they become safe in one perspective, but you know they they don't really they don't experience because they're scared of the mystery. They're afraid of being hurt. But they're not afraid of the mystery. What they are, they're afraid of the known of what they fear. But because it lies somewhere in the mystery, they're not going to pursue it. And that was it was a very vital thing he told me. A great friend Jade once told me, you just got to take risks. And I truly understand this to this day. We just have to fly. What are you gonna do? Are you gonna let's say we're on a plane, and we're actually we're skydiving. Are we gonna be scared in our little? No, no, I'm not gonna be. Why? Because everyone else jumps off. You're the one all scared in the plane, and you're holding your parachute, and you're not gonna do it. You're too afraid. And then the plane, it lands or whatever, and you missed out. You missed out on this huge, exhilarating experience everyone went through. But sometimes you just have to look out, look beneath you, and jump, fly. Let yourself go, fall. You know, hey, something bad could happen. The parachute might not be able to open. There's something. There's so many uh, nonsense ideas of what can happen. But what's very important, is that you experience that exhilaration of being alive at that moment. You experience something that nothing could ever take away. Now, are you going to stay in that plane and be afraid of, jumping? Uh, um, I do suffer from many cases of not being too afraid to jump, but what I learned is when we really learn to jump, that's when we're alive. It's beautiful. And something touches us, changes our life. We experience something that can never be explained. Can never be explained rationally, but it makes us, and it creates this, and it creates a new opportunity to grow. It's a very amazing thing. Um, yeah, I mean, sometimes we just have to jump. We have to look out that plane and say, "I'm ready, mystery. Take me." Something bad could happen, but hey, I could die. But I felt that at that moment, and I experienced. I was there. I was there, and no one could really take that away from me because I was there. I was there. I saw it came. I experienced that mid feeling that changed me. If I die, at least I experienced at that moment that nothing could ever really take away. So we really consider in our lives about the things, the opportunities, you know, that could really be before us. It's an amazing thing. When we learn to fly is when we learn to fall, and that starts with courage. Just jumping off the plane. It starts with courage. It's a trust. It's not a trust in others. It's a trust within ourselves and nature. Or you don't even have to call it that. If you're not all about earthly or all that stuff, don't call it that. Call it call it something like space, or call it just ex- existence. You know, trust that existence. Trust the existence of all around you, and it will like guide you in a very wonderful way. I mean, sometimes we really have to risk, or we could destroy a big part of ourselves that's so beneficial. So, who are you going to be? Are you going to be in that seat? Are you going to be in that plane scared, or are you gonna live? You know, there was this one quote that really got it really got to me. It was I can't remember the exact phrase of it, but it says something like, people are more scared of security rather than opportunity. It's almost like people are wanting to die rather than live. And that really touched me in a big way because in life we want to be so secure, but we're not being secure. We're under the false delusion that we're secure, that we're safe, but we're not actually safe. When we're safe is when we take the risk. We experienced, we lived, we were there, we saw. But when we stay limited in a little box, we don't go anywhere. We don't learn anything. We just learn how limited life really is, and then we develop this narrow sense of seeing and experiencing and whatever, and we just don't. We become these little innocent children, like Adam and Eve before they sinned. Before they sinned, they were naive. They are limited. But when they sinned, they experienced what the consequences were. Now, this is very important. Taking risks so you'll understand the consequences will get you a better comprehension of understanding the situation at hand and understanding yourself regarding to everything that is affected by that event or whatever it is. And this really helps us grow as human beings. It really does, you know? I mean, we could live in a secure little box and not afraid to go anywhere, but we're not doing anything for ourselves. We're not doing anything for anyone else but a delusion. We are being servants to a delusion when we try to secure ourselves so much that it takes away a big part of us. We are in service and we are enslaved by our own delusions because of this. I mean, everything is a risk. Everything. I mean, come on. You could go outside right now and a piano could fall on you. Hey, it could happen. You could go cross the street and some car could like run your ass over. You could. There's anything that could kill you right now. So what are you gonna do? Are you gonna like stay in a chair or like a couch and never move? What the hell's gonna happen then? You're not gonna have any stimuli. You're not gonna experience the stimuli. You're not gonna experience anything. You're gonna experience how very really limited you really are and helpless. And then you feel even more scared. And that's the thing with insecurity. When we as people become slaves to insecurity, we it gets worse. We insecure ourselves even more. And it's a cause and effect, it's a snowball effect. It keeps going, keeps growing. The insecurity levels keeps growing. We keep limiting ourselves to this and that, and we become very limited, very not very wise individuals. We become a product of our emotions and fears. Do you want to live life? Do you want to go out there and do it? Or do you want to be a product of your emotions and fears? Now, I still do to this day. I have insecurities. What are my insecurities? When it comes to being close to people, like I'm talking, I I feel a deep connection to people and everything like that. I have great love. When it comes to friendship and stuff like that, I have insecurity levels that go on. Um, and I still have a problem because I still have a problem bonding with people. You know, I, many people don't know this about me because how sincere I am. But the truth is, I have trouble connecting to people in a certain way. I'm very intuitive. I give my love to people and my appreciation and respect. When it comes to real like friendship bonds and stuff like that, I keep a distance. I have a hard trouble calling people friend based on this insecurity. I have insecurities. I'm still working on it. I'm an individual. How long will I be here in this lifetime? I'll work on it. I'll get there. And patience is a virtue. So I'll get there. But in the meantime, I have doubts. I have doubts. Sometimes it holds me back, but I try not to let it hold me back too much. Oh, sorry, I coughed. Well, anyway, I give people. I guess I give them a chance. In other words, I'll keep a certain distance here. In the past, I was I was worse. I'd throw people out of my life because I thought they would hurt me, and this is something that really has plagued me for many. Well, we all have errors, and we all have many challenges that we must. Well, anyway, yeah, insecurities is something that it affects us all. On some level, on some personal level, it affects us all. Because let's face it, the human world as it is pretty screwed up. People are willing to backstab you, people are willing to betray you. This could have drastic consequences and side effects. It could plague you for years, even if you don't realize it consciously, or however you want to pronounce it. Sorry, my pronunciation in English is not always so fluent. Well, anyway, yeah. Well, a lot of this can very affect us, and it could hold us back. It depends on how we let it consume us. I mean, I have trust issues. I have trust when it comes to people. Now, my trust with nature and animals is totally different. I have this deep trust, but when it comes to people, I have huge distrust based on expectations, or however you want to pronounce it. Stuff like that. I have really a hard time bonding with other people on a certain level because I'm afraid what they could do to me. Are they gonna leave me one day? Are they gonna backstab me? Are they gonna judge me? This is something I do, I suffer to this day. But I've learned to balance it quite well. I'm more reaching out to others and stuff like that, but still there's this wall. Now I want to call it separation. This wall is this different. It's like it differentiates um, a certain process to another that creates this boundary. Now let's look at that analogy, the boundary. Now, how big is that boundary going to be for you? Are you going to build so many walls around you that you're not going to be able to go anywhere? You're going to be like, hey, you'll be stuck. You'll be claustrophobic and stuck in your own mind, and you'd be screaming inside, help! I don't want to be here. Oh, yeah. You'll be stuck screaming. Oh, sorry about that. I was looking at the time of the recording. Um, you'll be stuck in this boundary, and you'd be, scream. You'd be a prisoner, and you'd be scared. How many walls are you willing to break down? How many walls are you willing to change? Change its format, so it is not so plaguing to you. Sorry. We're gonna continue this on another session or another recording. There's a few more things I want to get into. So, really, yeah. Well, anyway, yeah. Bye. Well, see you till next audio recording.